I'm Jake.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome back to the Movie Buff Reactions channel. As of when we put this video up, filming many months in advance because that's how we roll, the movie Man of Steel by Zack Snyder is officially turning 10 goddamn years old, which just seems fucking nuts because I remember when that came out and there was just so many ads everywhere, so many people talking about it. It was just so fresh in everybody's minds, and it remains a pretty divisive film among superhero and just film-going fans. And personally, I love it. Christopher Reeve is the iconic Superman, but of all the Superman films as a whole, I'd say Man of Steel is my personal favorite, mostly just for certain character and plot choices they make. And what did you think of it?
I would agree. I'm probably more in your camp. I mean, it's no Superman 2, but I think Man of Steel is definitely a solid entry in the canon. Yeah. And
Henry Cavill, sadly, as of when we're filming this, it's announced that even though they teased his return in Black Adam, he is no longer in as the Man of Steel.
Which I think is a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get a lot to stretch himself with in the movies they had, but I could feel, if given the right script and the right type of film, his Superman could really be amped up, and got a little bit of that in Zack Snyder's, his director's cut version of Justice League. But anyway, today, to celebrate the 10th anniversary of what I consider the best Superman film, we're going to react to the Nostalgia Critic's 2013 review of Man of Steel that he did alongside former Channel Awesome content creator Angry Joe, who you enjoyed from when we watched.
I did like Angry Joe, yep.
We watched the anniversary brawl a few months ago, and it was interesting because Doug Walker hated Man of Steel, while Joe Vargas fucking loved it. And it's always cool to see these two differing opinions, so without further ado, further rambling,
let's jump right in.
Let's watch.
I lost my parents in childhood, grew up alone and no one understood.
Rob Scallon.
Years brooding as an aimless drifter. But through the inspired
He dates Tamra. He's married to Tamra, who is the actress Doug uses.
Oh, you mean like Batman? I traveled the world as a bearded outcast to discover who I am. And they're done. My friends speak to me in exposition and speeches of how important and unique I am. Ask me my life story, I will tell it to you out of order and destroy me. I often have flashbacks out of nowhere about how important my destiny is. And they're done. My tight costume didn't tell me. I'm going gay too. Shot at the same time. I am a wise father figure who isn't my father at all. Suck my balls. I'm a free man, still I can do what I can. I'm the real deal. Superhero that this world's ever seen. Except for me. I'm mentally depressed and psychologically tortured. Not special. I'm staring to the past and devoid and half an hour scarred. Yet responsibly strong. I reflect when I'm in my giant dark empty fortress. I try to save people, but under my protection it's a billion death Polish shrivel.
Is this an epic rap battle?
No, this is just a song off.
Yeah.
Rob's a pretty popular musician in his own right. He succeeded, I think, with the director's cut of Justice League.
Jesus, guy!
Oh.
What? He was gonna kill some random people I didn't know. Dude, I didn't even kill the insane clown who murdered my girlfriend.
She wasn't your girlfriend, shithead.
You're sick.
You're a pussy.
I'm sick. In summer 2015,
1 year off.
two of the most polar opposite superheroes coming together at last. Oh, fuck you, Zack Snyder.
Yeah, that movie was a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the NC and the AJ. I love a good montage.
They can be great people they wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way.
Marlon Brando, baby.
Their capacity for good. I have sent to you, my only son.
Man of Steel sucks!
Man
Hey.
of Steel is freaking awesome, and you know it.
Yeah, maybe for blood-hungry psychopaths, but for those of us
Well.
who love an American icon, it's bullshit!
This is a new kind of Superman, Critic. He's obviously not the one we grew up with.
Yeah, that one makes sense.
What, time traveling? Flying around the world?
It mostly makes sense.
You just can't accept the fact that this is something new. And while we all know that the first two films are legendary, it's time for
Three's
a different
underrated.
way of looking at
I
the
give it
story.
that.
It's been told 1,000 times the same way.
Okay, look, I'm sick to death of that bullshit argument, so I'll tell you what. I am willing to look at this in a new light. Because, hey, we should be willing to accept things from a new point of view. I will still try my best to accept this as its own unique thing, without drawing any references from the original movies. Deal?
Deal.
But you have to acknowledge that when a moment sucks, it fucking sucks, no matter how much testosterone-filled bullshit is in it.
I make no promises.
Joe!
Alright, fine.
Well, let's look at the movie that has the internet totally split down the middle. This is either the absolutely loved or absolutely hated Man of Steel. We start off with the birth of our hero on planet every sci-fi movie ever made. And
Yeah,
this is
a bit too
Zack
CGI for my
Obviously
taste.
either looks like H.R. Geiger's hand-me-downs or penises. Look at these things! Tell me that doesn't look like the Little Mermaid monster.
Actually, quite like
Yeah,
the
a little bit.
Krypton look. Sci-fi, medieval mesh, interesting wildlife, but I suppose the floating robots do look a bit like the hairdo in The Last Airbender.
Oh, no. We have interpretations of that in barbed wire. As our High Council is wearing what I assume is Krypton's version of mini roller coasters.
Yep.
Seriously suggesting that we evacuate the entire planet?
No. Everybody here is already dead.
A lot of you know the drill here. Superman's father, Jor-El, played by Russell Crowe, is trying to convince the higher-ups that the planet Krypton is about to explode and nobody believes him. But hell, the entire world blowing up isn't exciting enough. Let's throw in a hostile takeover while we're at it too. This particular hostile takeover is led by General Zod, played by Michael. Why does everyone say I lisp like Willem Dafoe Shannon?
These lawmakers, with their endless debates, have led Krypton
He's not that bad
Save
of a lisp.
the degenerative bloodlines that led us to this state.
And who will decide which bloodline survives on? You.
I humbly accept your nomination. Don't do this,
So, seeing how Zod's army fought off this world's equivalent of White House security so easily, it only makes sense that Jor-El should be able to fight off Zod's army that broke through this world's equivalent of White House security so easily. I think. He rides on his dragonfly dragon, picks up yet another subplot, because Lord knows we don't have enough of those going on in this opening, and plans to put it in a space pod, sending his son to Earth, who will be the only survivor.
Goodbye, my son.
Nah, shoot, we gotta have that pesky emotion. Come on, this is a Christopher Nolan story. You're not throwing more subplots. At least strap that baby to a bomb or something.
Wasn't completely stiff. It feels You can see the sadness in
He
his
rises
eyes.
from his dentist chair and is sent out towards Earth, just before Zod's forces arrive.
Concentrate fire on the main door! You're this person who clearly has no microphone attached to his mouth. What have you done?
We've had a child, son.
Heresy! Destroy it!
Stuff a bag of marshmallows in his mouth before talking?
Heresy! Destroy it!
Actually, the funny thing about Michael Shannon's performance is how he manages to be both over the top extreme and under the bottom restrained. It's kind of like watching Jerry Lewis act. He may start off low and appear not to be very interested, but then, in a millisecond, he can change into
Hey, with the screaming and the yelling and the complaining!
He's not quite like that.
Shut up, he did great. Michael Shannon is a damn good actor. He was portraying a bitter, single-minded man who has nothing to lose as he's pushed to the breaking point.
Yeah, but does his breaking point have to sound like a bulldog?
You won't kill us yourself!
I liked his version of Zod.
Yeah, well, at least he doesn't sound like a screaming goat when he yells.
Hey, I do not! Bearded asshole.
You have a beard.
Zod gets the best of him just before security gets the best of Zod. This calls for a Hans Zimmer blow.
It's a good
Is anyone
blow.
else sick of that sound yet? I swear, if Hans
I'm
Zimmer
not.
had the music to You're a Good Man Charlie Brown, it'd be You're a Good Man Charlie. So Zod is sentenced to imprisonment in the Phantom Zone.
You believe your son is safe?
I will find him.
Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
I will find him.
No, still didn't get it.
I will find him.
Still not coming through. Tell you what, say it as loud and ridiculously hammy as your cartoonishly large eyes and mouth will allow.
I will find him!
Now I hear ya. No, you won't. Bye. I swear to God, look at it! Look at it! So they wait for the inevitable, as it's the end of the world as they know it, and everyone feels blandly fine.
I'd say more accepting of what's gonna happen.
Lady Laura, shouldn't you find refuge?
What? I can't hear you over the incredibly quiet destruction of the world.
There is no refuge, kiddo.
So Kal-El travels to the planet known as Earth, where he lands on an episode of Deadliest Catch. Okay, we may have skipped forward a touch, but at least now we have time to give Clark, played by Henry Cavill, some proper development for his character. Or just blow shit up again, because the past 20 minutes clearly haven't shown enough of that.
What? Easily bored?
I am Leonidas Wolverine Brawny Man. Follow my non-flammable hands to freedom!
He looks good with a beard.
Oh, we're in this kind of story.
What kind of story?
The Out of Order story that got critical acclaim with Memento, so Nolan's been trying to use it with every film he's been attached to.
Nolan's
He's
only
a
the
boy,
producer
he's a
on
man,
this.
He's a teenager, he's a boy again, he's a man. And it wouldn't be so bad if he would at least talk about what he's going through, but he never does.
Wait, aren't you the one saying that Nolan films already have too much dialogue already?
Well, kind of, sort of. It depends on how you use it. I mean, if it's needed, use it. If it's not, don't.
Well, you actually don't need it here. Scenes like Clark as a boy getting used to his powers are already emotional scenes. You don't have to explain them.
Now that's true. Scenes like this are good on their own, but we're getting background on a guy whose personality we're never given time to know. Look at this. We have a flashback to his childhood, and then we come back to present time. Then, literally 1 minute later, we get another flashback to his childhood. Welcome back. Missed ya. They never give me time to understand this guy. I've got to know the personality of my minute rights more than I have this person.
So what's wrong with that? Lots of us constantly get flashbacks out of nowhere about their troubling childhood.
Nope.
Joe?
What's that, Papa? No, I don't want to wear the big lobster costume. Why do you make me wear that anyways? No, Papa, no, not the nipple tasers, please!
I think the less I know about this, the better. So after countless moments of intense scenes and harsh action, what is this flashback gonna show? Some intense scenes and harsh action.
Oh, this is a great
Wow, this
sequence.
film's running the gamut of all two things that can be done with a movie. So young Clark saves the bus of kids, which leads to the dismay of his father, John Kent, played by that voice box that sounds like Kevin Costner. Or maybe it's just Kevin Costner. They're pretty easy to mix up.
We talked about
He's actually pretty decent here.
I thought so as
You
well.
have to keep this out of yourself.
I thought it was great
And this, of
casting.
course, gives way to one of the most controversial parts of the movie. John Kent saying he should have let the kids on the bus die.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
Yeah, what do you got to say about that, Joe? Joe?
No, but not the nitroglycerin!
Joe!
Oh. Sorry.
The scene where John Kent says drown the bastards.
Hey, he doesn't say let them die. He says maybe let them die.
That's much better.
Well, it's his way of saying he doesn't know. And that's what's so great about it. Because it mimics real life far more than previous Superman films. It shows that people don't always have the answers. All he knows is that he doesn't want his son to be discovered and hurt. But he never says let them die. He says he doesn't know.
He loves him, and he's trying to look out for
Why
him.
can't Superman's father then talk to him like a father?
What do you mean? He's the one that builds him up.
And that's it. Every line in this movie is just talking about what a messiah he is.
You were sent here for a reason. When the world finds out what you can do, it's going to change everything. You're not just anyone, Clark. You're the answer to are we alone in the universe. Stand proud in front of the human race.
He's less of a tough father and more like a stereotypical Jewish mother.
Oh, you gotta see my son. When the world
Oh,
finds
boy.
out what he can do, it's gonna change everything. He was sent here for a reason. He's the answer to are we alone in the universe?
Ma'am, 911 is for emergencies only.
Oh, sorry. I could have a busload of drowned kids for you, but my son saved them too. But don't worry, I punished him properly for that.
Ma'am, never pick up the phone again.
Why does everyone keep telling me that?
Come on, that's
out of context.
Words.
It's every boring Destiny monologue we've heard before.
Oh yeah? Prove it.
People are afraid of what they don't understand.
You always fear what you don't understand.
People fear what they don't understand.
People fear what they do not understand.
People are frightened by what they don't.
Elephant Man.
He said it differently though.
We found it.
Doesn't matter if it's been done before. It's all about the execution.
He said whatever it was made from didn't even exist on the periodic table. It's another way of saying that it's not from this world, Clark.
They surprisingly asked no questions and let me take my miracle stone home without ever calling anybody. See, they knew how to keep a secret.
Yeah, that's a good
And it
point.
turns out years later, Clark does a good job carrying that secret. Like when a bully inflicts no physical harm on him whatsoever, so he crucifies his truck, costing God knows how much money in damages.
Well, the guy was an
At least he didn't
asshole.
Save anybody? So, seeing how we're watching Clark go on this long journey, are we finally gonna get some idea of what his personality is like? You all know the answer to this. Hello, other characters and subplots.
Best Lois Lane ever.
Played by Amy Adams, doing a report on some sort of disturbance.
Hell no, you cannot badmouth Lois Lane. She is a stronger character, a more confident one. She's a risk taker. She doesn't have time for the military's pissing contest. She actually does something in this film. And she's not only screaming for someone to save her.
Yeah, that is
Yes.
hit by the Nolan ray.
The what?
The Nolan ray. You see, I have no doubt that Zack Snyder started off having Lois as an interesting, funny, opinionated character. Because at first, she does seem that way.
If we're done measuring dicks, can you have your people show me what you found?
But then she's zapped by the Nolan ray, and suddenly every line of dialogue is emphasizing the weight of how important the movie you're watching is. Remember when his father was bawling it out like a real father?
Right, we talked about this. You have to.
Boom! Nolan ray!
You're the answer to are we alone in the universe.
Remember how Lois Lane was feisty and took no nonsense from anybody?
Well, what can I say? I get writer's block if I'm not wearing a flak jacket.
Boom! Nolan ray!
The questions raised by my rescuer's existence.
Well, it's for an article she was
Yeah,
writing.
Barry White, played by Lawrence Fishburne. He starts off in your face screaming about stories and deadlines.
You let Woodburn just shotgun it all over the internet. Now let's make it 3D since you're so willing to agree with me.
Oh, that's way too interesting. A little bit of the Nolan ray will fix that.
Can you imagine how people on this planet would react if they knew there was someone like this out there?
The Nolan Ray, because whatever important issue you're talking about, it can always be more important.
Critic, you know, sometimes life is like that. Life can be tough. Life can be cruel. Life can throw lobster costumes and nipple tasers into your reality.
Am I ever gathering a story to that?
The less you know, the better.
So Lois follows a certain laser-eyeing someone into the ice where she discovers a spaceship. A spaceship that apparently saw her performance in Julie and Julia. But Clark is there to take down the machine, heal her wounds, and apparently leave her for dead. When she observes that Clark has taken the spaceship away, she tries to write a report on it, only to find her boss won't run it. So she lets it leak to the internet.
My editor won't print it, but if it happened to leak online.
But didn't you once describe my site as a creeping cancer of falsehoods?
Hey, look, it's TMZ.
Doug's tangled with them before.
So Clark loads the exposition program, and through some pretty awesome effects, a computer with what's left of Jor-El explains Krypton's history.
I'm your father, Cal. That's my name.
And I'm jumping!
Spread out through the stars. The scout ship was one of thousands launched into the void.
We sent thousands of these scout ships, and yet our backup plan in case the world blows up was a little baby-sized pod. You can see why we didn't last very long.
Artificial population control was established.
So it's explained that Clark is Krypton's first natural birth in centuries. Not exactly sure how they control that, or whether everyone just kept to the honor system, or if they genetically altered babies to be born with chastity belts, but regardless, Clark has apparently broken the chain. And he now knows it's his job to do what he can for all mankind. So he practices flying around the mountainside while the cameraman practices keeping his finger off the goddamn zoom button. Yeah, you may notice very quickly, there's a lot of this in this movie.
I didn't mind
it. For no
it.
reason at all, whenever there's fast-paced motion, the camera has to zoom in on it like a monkey with a fucking camcorder. How do you think the cinematographer came across that ingenious move?
No, come on, honey, give Daddy a camera. Oh, no, I have to show Mr. Snyder my test.
Malcolm.
Still alive. Please, no, come on, honey. I can explain.
I love this.
I knew you would.
So Lois goes searching for her rescuer/leaver of people to die in the snow, and through asking questions and listening to hearsay, she locates exactly where he is.
Good detective
Of course, this
work.
calls for celebrating with another flashback.
I'm tired of safe. I just want to do something useful with my life.
So farming, feeding people, that's not useful. Our family's been farming for 5 generations, Clark.
But wait a minute, Papa Kent. Didn't you just in the flashback
It's
say
true.
that he was destined to change the world when people discovered him?
When the world finds out what you can do, it's going to change everything.
And now you're saying you never want him to be discovered and you just want him to be a farmer? I'm starting to think Clark has 3 fathers. Jor-El, John, and John's other friggin' personalities. But get ready for a big shot.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I can't tell if he was saying stay a farmer forever or just for a while. Yeah, this scene.
Get your mom to the overpass.
Oh, wait a minute.
He saved our job even though it would have been a lot easier if he just sent Clark in to go get him, causing John to hurt his leg, unable to make it back in time. But he stops Clark from saving him because he's an attention-hungry martyr who doesn't want Clark to be outed, even though he's going to be outed just a few years later anyway.
What? Yep. Even though there's about
Yeah, this is the one scene I really hate.
Could have been solved. John Kent sacrifices himself because he stands by how Clark should change the world by never doing a goddamn thing.
He's just doing what he thinks is right.
But it's not right.
But he thinks it's right.
Does that make it right?
Does that make it not right?
Not right?
Right?
Getting too philosophical for us fellas.
What the hell did we just agree on?
You see, this movie's deeper than you think. It's raising questions.
Oh, shut up. While we're at it, why does everyone in this movie take death like a light breeze? All of the people who die in this film never flinch, move, or even make a noise. And these deaths have ranged from stabbing, explosion, and tornado. I think somebody in that lineup would at least go, ow!
Maybe.
Well, the movie's tired of waiting for Clark to actually do anything, so General Zod appears on the Monarch ship to threaten the world to hand him over.
I think whoever's at the helm of that thing is looking to make a dramatic entrance.
Thanks for the arrow, by the way. We never will know what we were supposed to look at. to take over all of Earth's video footage understandably gives a barely visible picture. But for some reason, that sound sure seems crystal clear.
Kal-El, I say this. Surrender within 24 hours.
And tell Nash thanks for the microphone. It works great. No problem, tyrannical overlord.
Another Channel Awesome alumni.
The consequences.
This is Orson Welles, ladies and gentlemen, to assure you that the War of the Worlds has no further significance than as the holiday offering it was intended to be.
The clerk tries to figure out what to do and seeks the advice of both his mother and possibly a higher source. What is that?
I don't know where to start. Wherever you want.
I can't make that out. What is that?
Do you know why they want you?
I can't hear you over your obvious symbolism! We got the point, okay?
It's not as in your face as you're making it out to be.
Himself and surrenders to the military, who have also brought in Lois, seeing how she's the only one who knew anything about his existence.
What's the S stand for?
It's not an S. On my world, it means hope.
Well, here it's an S.
Oh, I could look at your ass all day. You done worse.
I-S titties. I-S and titties. I-S titties. I-S and titties.
So he convinces humanity that he's not a threat, and that he's going to hand himself over to Zod. Humanity goes, okay, and lets him turn himself in to Zod's second-in-command, Feora. But she also seems to want Lois to go with too.
General Zod would like this woman to accompany me.
It's all right. I'll go.
We also got Julie and Julie on planet Krypton. You will pay for costing Meryl Streep an Oscar.
As if she doesn't have enough.
Shut up.
Meryl
She'll go
Streep
aboard Zod's ship,
can
but
just
Clark
fuck
has a
off at
hard
this
time
point.
adapting to their atmosphere.
What's happening to him?
He's rejecting our ship's atmospherics. Hello, Cal.
Welcome to my weird mental thingy.
I and my fellow officers were sentenced to the Phantom Zone.
So Zod explains how they were freed once Krypton was destroyed, and how they got the ship working to travel to Earth to find it. Yeah, you remember. He explains that the codex for all living things on Krypton is in his possession, and so he has the power to make Krypton live again.
Krypton lives again. What happens to Earth?
The foundation has to be built on something.
You know, is it really wise to tell your only hope for the future of your race that you're going to destroy his place that he calls home? Wouldn't that kind of make him resistant and thus make things go a little slower? Maybe this wasn't what he was supposed to see. Maybe they accidentally put in the wrong program to show him.
If I give you the codex, what happens to Earth? The foundation has to be built on something. No, skulls! Skulls everywhere? Who does that? You get this isn't going to make him happy. It'll turn you into a raving psychotic. When the happy program, Much better. Look, we've got dancing bunnies here, and oh, look at the flowers all smiling. And oh, there's even a unicorn riding a marshmallow rainbow. Isn't that adorable?
You'll stay here until we remember the incredibly important reason we brought you on board.
This gives her a chance to use Jarrell in a box as they plan what I have to admit is a pretty awesome escape.
Thanks to you, I'm uploading to the ship's mainframe.
This is cool.
You're right, fine. Fine.
Oh my god, I want this guy as an AI on my next first-person shooter game.
Secure yourself inside the open pod.
Pretty cool.
This also allows Clark to escape as he's set to go down to Earth and stop them from harming anybody.
We wanted you to learn what it meant to be human first. So that one day, when the time was right, you could be the bridge between two peoples. You could save all of them.
But my father said never to be noticed or help people.
Your father's a twat who directed the postman. You.
I am Jesus! I am Jesus!
Yeah.
We heard you the first time! Hey, what's wrong with a little savior symbolism here and there?
Here or there? I don't think the Bible has as much Jesus imagery.
Okay, but what would someone who's half immortal and half human be like? Would he be more human or would he be more godlike? Yes, he floats away on a cross.
Don't rub him off, Doug.
Just trying to have him move graceful in space, okay? They're not literally saying he's Jesus or God, and the church scene supports that he's humble. He's more human than we know. He needs the advice of others to help him make the right decision. And this is when he truly comes over to our side, becomes one of us.
You know what? Forget it. Let's just say you win.
Really?
Yeah, I'll claim as Citizen Kane as long as I don't want to watch any more of this dark unpleasantness. I'll probably please happy angry fanboys too.
Alright, score 1 for Angry Joe. I'm gonna convince you yet.
You know, how come my show is so easy to have?
I come from a world far from you. I traveled over the ocean of stars to reach... Hold on a second.
What the hell do we still have done?
The original song.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching your little review and I'm displeased to discover that you're giving it a positive rating.
Yeah, he loves it now. It's like one of his favorite movies.
Shut up, Joe. Perhaps you're unaware of how many people watch you, Nostalgia Critic, and how much I personally despise the film you are currently reviewing. And how easy it would be for me to rearrange your testicles so that they look like Jackson Pollock droppings.
And joke's on you, Zod. Once the critic makes up his mind, nothing changes it.
Joe.
You can literally rip his intensities out with an onion peeler.
Joe.
Or you can suck out his eyes with a vacuum hose.
Joe.
Or you can put him in a lobster costume and hang him upside down over a pit of ferrets injected with venom. Joe.
Your dad sounds like a freak, Joe.
Look, Zod. Hold on, I'm writing that last one down. Zod, the review isn't done yet. I'm gonna watch it all the way through. Very good. And if you don't hate it, I will make sure that the corpse they find of you, they will never recognize as a corpse.
Hey, that's not fair. Critic, if you go back on your opinion, you're gonna have the whole of the internet hounding you down like an animal.
Can't we all just hate Superman 4?
I don't hate it, but I do agree it is the worst Superman movie. Nuclear Man. Remember him?
Yeah.
So Clark, or as some people are calling him now, Superman, gets Lois out of the escape pod before it explodes. Oh, what a charming romantic Oh, no time for that here. We got exposition dispute.
I didn't want to tell them anything about you, but they did something to me. They looked inside my mind.
Did the same thing to me.
Huh. Guess they forgot to show that scene. Kind of pointless, seeing how they could get the exact same information out of him. Hell, maybe Zod managed to find the correct imagery this time.
You see, Miss Lane, all of this and more can be yours if you just give us the information we require.
Even the unicorn riding the marshmallow rainbow?
Even the unicorn riding the marshmallow rainbow.
So Zod approaches Clark's mother dressed as that thing from the opening of Alien and tries to force her to tell him where the Codex is.
The Codex is not here.
Where has he hidden it?
Oh no.
Where is the Codex?
Does this guy have any charm outside of just shouting his ass off?
He's good at
How
it.
does this guy get this position anyway?
It's all down to shouting.
Superman saves his mother, but potentially dooms this entire town by bringing the battle to them. It seems okay for the moment as Zod can't adapt to Earth's atmosphere, but Miss Not Ursa and her masked minions can make up for that.
Bam!
I'm sorry, sir. The red, white, and blue pancakes are at Denny's. I appreciate your enthusiasm, though. And as many people have pointed out, the product placements in this scene are beyond horrendous, including some painful plugs for IHOP, Sears, 7-Eleven, U-Haul. There's so many ads clashing in this scene, I don't think they could properly plug them all in time.
When in town, it get a healthy dose of pancakes from
It never distracted me, to be honest.
No, I don't think so.
Pick me up. Grab a slushie from 7-Eleven. I mean, when you're looking for clothes for any occasion, Sears is the place for you. Moving soon? Let U-Haul handle all of your services. Oh, now you're not even trying.
All right, I'll give you that one. There is way too much of that in the film. But Critic, you have to admit, the action scene is still amazing.
What? With countless plugs and people dying left and right?
Come on, you know your inner man-child can't look past how amazingly awesome the wanton destruction is.
Well,
Damn my testosterone. Of course it's fucking awesome!
Yeah.
Right? Well, then get to that scene where he sings the band and he tosses everything. Yeah. Oh, and then you down like hit the guy in the neck. Boom, and it's boom, and like tries it in the mouth. And then they're like going over, it's like Dragon Ball Z. It's just all the shitty stuff that's kind of well, some of it's just not Dragon Ball Z shitty stuff, new shitty stuff, but this stuff is awesome.
Pardon me, but was I hearing enjoyment of this picture?
No, sir.
Good.
Pussy. No, that's what I'm going to be if I piss him off. He finally gets their helmets off. Strange seeing how Zod's came off in one explosion and theirs took like a bajillion. And seeing how he's won, he goes back to his mother to see if she's alright.
My suit, son.
Too sorry.
It's only stuff, Clark.
Oh, good. Could you tell the people down the street that? Once my ass and property damages.
But Zod discovers the Codex is in Superman's bloodstream and that he doesn't need to be alive in order for them to get it. So it's time to do a little planet redecorating. Ladies and gentlemen, because you've never seen the destruction of a major city in a summer blockbuster before, we give you that thing we just said.
It was a very suspenseful sequence.
Oh my god, look at all the places they're destroying, including IHOP, Denny's, Toys Sears, all the
get
incredibly
over it.
marketed humanity! So two machines on either side of the world start leveling the planet. This calls for Star Trek-style mumbo-jumbo mixed in with a simple analogy the audience can understand.
Ship is powered by something called Phantom Drive. It bends space. Zod's ship uses the same technology, and if we can make the two drives collide with one another, a singularity can be created.
Like a black hole. Like putting two in air in a balloon.
Of course, it's so simple.
So the army goes to take out the one in the city, while Superman goes to take out the one over the Indian Ocean.
Now, I know there's a lot of people who get angry saying, Superman should have taken the one in the city first. No! It's not just Superman who saves the world with one direct method. Brave civilians, our military, and Superman working together as one. Only he can make it there that fast to the other side of the world. And only he could possibly get around its defenses.
Joe, honestly, this setup is so confusing, I'll just take your word for it.
No! Everybody goes nuts over this, so I'm going to explain it. What if Superman went for the main one and then they went for the other one there? They may not be able to shut the other one down. Maybe the other one has a self-destruct mechanism which would blow up the entire Earth if the first one got blown up.
So Zod adapts to the Earth's atmosphere. Apparently half a lifetime of getting used to this can be reduced down to a couple seconds now, and grabs the scout ship in order to start rebuilding Krypton. Meanwhile, Lois is on board the military ship about to blast the other one to hell, when something seems to go wrong.
There's something wrong. It's not supposed to do this.
Well, what's it supposed to do?
It's supposed to go in all the way.
Damn it, Lois, you had one job that we pointlessly put you in charge of, and that was just to push a button. And you couldn't even do that one!
Lay off her.
They do eventually get it to work, but Zod is hot on their trail.
Target that aircraft.
Terminate with extreme disinterest.
Once Superman stops the machine over the Indian Ocean and flies back to destroy Zod on his ship.
Stop! If you destroy this ship, you destroy Krypton! Krypton had its chance!
The bridge between two worlds, everybody. If you have a chance to save a civilization, but yeah, they were kind of jerks, just destroy any chance of them ever coming back. I guess the bridge in this movie is code for either us or them. And honestly, even us kind of got the raw end of it.
Are they gone?
I think so.
They saved us.
Oh, for God's sake, could that in a part of the city that doesn't look quite so 9/11'd? For crying out
Bro.
loud, all that's missing is Bush and a banner that says mission accomplished.
You know, they say it's all downhill after the first kiss.
Who the hell says that? But it turns out Zod is still alive and angry that his future has been reduced to hot chocolate mix.
I exist only to protect Krypton. And every action I take, no matter how violent or how cruel, is for the greater good.
So Zod vows to destroy Superman at any cost. Logically, seeing how he'll chase Superman anywhere, Superman leads him to a location far away from the people.
wouldn't
and
work.
none of them will ever get hurt, or he once again brings the most dangerous thing in the world to the people he swore to protect. Yeah, I'm sure they're really thankful.
I'll get into this after the review.
Yeah, imagine the real damage that could have been done if he didn't come to our planet. Oh look, Zod. Oh Jesus, it's gonna save us again! Go, Superman, putting us above all else again!
Oh God! Is that the Statue of Liberty?
Superman gets him in a headlock, but Zod vows to make what he supposedly cares for most suffer.
Don't do this!
Even though there's about 3 or 4 different ways those people could probably get out of it.
You have to admit, Soup, this isn't all me. These people are just kind of idiots.
Thus, we get our biggest controversial moment in all of the movie. Superman breaks Zod's neck.
Still debated about to this day. Good
Really?
scream.
Nothing from you on that one, Joe? Oh,
And that's how I saved Christmas with the lighting gun. What was I talking about?
the controversial neck-breaking scene.
Oh, you know, I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw that scene, I hated it. But the more you really think about it, this is a really bold choice. Because ultimately it lets Zod win. It plays again to a young and inexperienced Clark and how he knows his actions will have huge ramifications.
Yeah, it's because having the city nuked didn't have enough ramifications.
Point being, it's a catalyst now for why he will never ever take another life. The fact that he had to do it to one of his own people, one of the last remaining Kryptonians. At that moment, he not only chooses to be a human, but he makes the ultimate sacrifice for humanity. And he also makes himself forever alone.
I agree.
Ha! I knew you'd say that. Wait, what?
Yeah, surprisingly, the most hated scene by so many fans actually didn't bother me that much. I mean, keep in mind, we saw Superman kill Zod in a second movie.
Yeah.
No one had a heart attack over that.
The internet didn't exist back then, though.
Illustrated better. I like the idea they were going for. That you won't always have answers to situations that are always epically pleasing. It's actually a very difficult, very hard thing to come to grips with. Too bad it's forgotten in the very next scene. He just blows some more shit up because, like I said, we haven't seen enough of that.
Yeah, it's pretty rushed. I mean, he takes down a satellite and then they make a joke about how hot he is and they never bring it up again. It's almost like the scene before never freaking happened. It really pisses me the fuck off. They just ruined it right there.
They never established that killing people was a big thing for him. Hell, we saw so many other civilians die, I figured that he'd be used to seeing it by now.
We never actually see any of those people die as a direct result from Superman. I mean, sure, we see people die when Zod's ship is like humping the Earth, but I get what you're saying. You're actually saying we agree on the neck break then.
I think so.
The one part most fans universally hate, we actually think is okay?
For the most part, yeah.
So does that mean you actually like it, Critic?
Yes. Does that mean you actually like this, Nostalgia Critic?
I still think this movie is awful! Oh, come on, man!
No, I'm sorry. I just think it's terrible. There are some things I like. All the actors to play these roles are good choices. The action scenes are awesome. And though I like the more upbeat Superman, I'm open to the idea of a darker version. But these characters have no identity. Outside of their job and how they look, you wouldn't even know that this was Clark Kent or Lois Lane if they didn't call them Clark Kent or Lois Lane.
I think we would know.
Needed and get in the way of any emotional connection we want to make. The incoherent storytelling is pointless and annoying, and as a superhero, he lets way too many people die in this. Even if he took Superman's name off of this, I still wouldn't like this stupid, illogical mess.
I think you're totally wrong, Critic. Everything you just said. Those characters seem boring to you because they're not as over the top or single-noted as the comic book ones or the Christopher Reeves versions. It's a new kind of Superman that needs a less cliche character, okay? It needs a tougher and darker outlook because we've seen the other Superman stories already. Those are still there. And by putting in these morally confusing lessons that you call illogical, I see them as challenging. And there's no way to save every single body like in previous movies.
Yes.
You always get your way.
Yes.
There's just a man struggling between what it means to be human and more than human. And trying to do the right thing. Yet he still manages to rise above it and save us all. This movie is awesome.
Oh, please, you custodians will read too much into anything.
Why don't you say that to my face, hair gel?
They can be the great people they wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason above all, their capacity for good, I have sent them you, my only son.
I think I understand now. Joe, I will never like this movie. I think it's an insult to everything Superman stands for, and I will never understand how you could actually like it.
Oh, nice.
But just because I can't see how doesn't mean I can't understand why.
Oh, because I'm a blood-hungry psychopath, right?
No! I mean, you are, but that's not why I think you like it. When I see this movie, I see people dying for the sake of getting violent, craving teens in the seats. But that's not what you see. You see one of your favorite superheroes being tested and put through a greater challenge than ever before. And by having him witness and go through so much intensity, it makes his challenges seem greater and his struggle all the more interesting. For you, and probably a lot of people that enjoy this movie, you're seeing the Man of Steel go up against some of the greatest evil he's ever gone up against, because of how much damage he does. So when he rises up, you can feel all the more proud of what a terrible thing he stopped. It's not craving dark, horrible things like a maniac. It's seeing someone fight against those dark, horrible things. And not just through him holding heavy
Superman
stuff,
Returns.
but by standing up for what he feels is important. I don't see the same thing, but at the very least, I know that's what you see. So, as long as you're viewing it because you want to see the best of strength and kindness rise up against the worst of oppression and force, all I can say is, go ahead and enjoy it, man.
Thanks for understanding.
Unfortunately.
Bullshit won't work out for you, custodian. Don't worry, Critic. I'll stop him. Tell me his location. Hey, how are you doing that?
Much
Ugh.
I'm trying to steal organs and pain! Oh, for Christ's sake, will you guys stop punching holes in my ceiling?
Here to stop you again, Zod.
Stay back, Superman, or the Critic's toast!
Careful, Zod. You know what I can do.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? Kill me? You break my neck, you'll have message boards all over you like an unemployed writer at Starbucks! So come on, big man, what are you gonna do?
You lasered his balls off?
Yep. But at least I didn't kill him.
But you lasered his balls off!
I mean, he had it coming, and I'm surprised he had it to begin with.
Jesus. Well, then what'd you do?
You know, the usual. Made sure they got the made out with Lois for a bit. Flew into space, smiled for the camera.
And I bet you were played off to a Hans Zimmer theme.
Come on, man.
No. I swear, they're like exactly the same. I mean, here's my theme. Now here's your theme. It's like a semitone off.
Hey, you know, speaking of rip-offs, does this seem at all familiar to you?
What do you mean?
Like, just this whole setup. I feel like I might have seen this before.
Oh my God, don't look.
What?
I said don't look. You looked, did you?
Yes, I did.
Did they see you?
I don't know. So.
Are you sure?
I can check.
Don't look.
They're looking right at us.
Just keep your eyes down on the table. Hey. Hey. Batman doesn't have a beard. We don't hear that. We're keeping our eyes down on the table.
That animation is a contribution, I believe, from this web show called How It Should Have Ended, where they do animated recreations of movies and show how they think they should have gone down.
Okay.
Like with Batman v Superman, where Lex Luthor had Superman's mother taken hostage. They said, Superman has the power of smell. He could have easily found her where she is and could have stopped this like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do some fun videos.
I will find him!
So, that was Nostalgia Critic and Angry Joe's crossover review of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. What did you think?
I thought it was really well done. I liked how the two played off of each other. And they definitely both kind of traded where they agreed and the points that they disagreed. So I think that took a lot to kind of admit, like, you know, you have a point there. So I thought it was really well done.
I fully agree. They do work off. I think Doug got a little more screen time because it's his show. But Joe was able to air some pretty good points. And I disagree with Doug Walker on about 80% of the stuff he said here. But that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy listening to what he has to say. He makes his case, and I find Doug, with the rare exception, like say his Masters of the Universe review, I can enjoy his stuff pretty well. The points that I took the time to kind of write down, just because I think good defenses can be made for these.
Sure.
Joe already made the point with Pa Kent when he says, maybe, as far as letting the kids live or die. Yeah, he knows that he loves his son, and he's worried, and it's his way of saying he doesn't have the answer.
And I find that the least valid of the criticisms. I think that was probably one of the most emotionally grounding moments of the original film. So I have to disagree with Doug on that the most.
The other big criticism that people still will not stop bitching about is that Superman is reckless and causes so much damage, and even though they don't show it, gets a lot of innocent people killed. And yes, there is a lot of reckless destruction, but here's something that a lot of people seem to forget. Him going to face Zod, them having their big battle in the city. This is all technically on his first day donning the Superman costume.
Right.
It's his first day on the job, and as they point out, he's not experienced in doing this stuff. So I think it's not unreasonable, even though it is destructive, to think that he would make a couple of mistakes.
Yeah, I understand the point of the destruction. That's definitely, a big point to be made in Doug's favor. But if you relook at the Superman 2, kind of the scene that this is not recreating, but a similar Zod versus Superman, there was destruction. And when I rewatched it later, I was a little underwhelmed by the amount of destruction just in this one small little town. It's like, that's all they're fighting over, But here, it feels more equal to what we're looking at. We're looking at two,
powerful Kryptonians.
Superpower, Kryptonians. So I think it kind of equals their strength a little bit better than the original in Superman 2.
Agreed. And
the scope, the scale, and the realism.
And yeah, and something else that a lot of people get upset about is, and my grandfather, who I love to watch stuff with, made a good case for this criticism, why it doesn't work. People say Superman should have led Zod away from Metropolis to avoid people getting killed. And the argument against that I give full credit to Guy, is that, again, this is his first day. He's pretty inexperienced as a superhero. Zod is a soldier, a general. He's devoted his whole life to fighting and winning battles. And he's clearly, during this fight, the stronger of the two.
And he's setting the conditions of the fight.
Yeah.
It's happening here. It's not like he could have distracted him.
And if he tried to lead him away, Zod would probably just take them back.
Exploit the vulnerability.
The final, and this again, remains the most divisive. Like, there are people that loved Man of Steel until this scene. The neck snapping. And I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I know a lot of people like to put the superheroes on this they don't kill mantle, but I've never been fully behind it. I feel if it fits, or maybe if it's a they have no choice situation. And again, inexperience, first day, doesn't have the hang of it, and those people were about to get lasered to
That's
dust.
the only way to stop him. And again, in the original, in Superman 2, like, he kills Zod.
Yeah.
So I think it's totally fine. I have a bigger problem with the casting of Zod, which I thought was a more valid criticism that he brought out at the beginning.
I don't have an issue with Michael Shannon. Sometimes he has that weird sound to his voice, but I thought it was different than Terrence Stamp.
Yeah.
And he made it his own thing. And something that I enjoyed about Michael Shannon is the authority that he brought to the role. Like, my two favorite moments with him, and these are weird moments, is when they're closing in on Jor-El and he says, "Concentrate all fire," and the part where he's flying the ship and he says, "Target that aircraft." I like those moments because he totally sounds like a general in those moments.
Yeah, and I agree completely with that. Whereas in the original adaptation, you don't feel like Zod's a general. He's just called that, and he's got his group of 3, but that's it. There's no backstory to him whatsoever. So this gives us at least that backstory and some credentials behind it to show why he may be called General Zod.
And, well, it is questionable, some of the choices they may have done with her. I do love Amy Adams as Lois Lane.
I completely agree, yeah.
Best version of the character I've ever seen. Amy Adams is probably one of my favorite actresses. Margot Kidder, I know she's like a beloved icon.
She's iconic, yeah.
In the original, and I know this probably will sound awful, but I look at Margot Kidder as Lois Lane, all I can think of is Jack Nicholson as the Joker going, "I'm glad you're dead."
Well,
was that over the top? I can never tell.
You also have to understand context, I think, the 80s. I think Margot Kidder was a decent adaptation for the time period, but yeah.
And last thing to mention about the review, I mean, there's a lot. Rob Scallon, fun singing Superman.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that because it was such a long review. But yes, I think that was an excellent job parodying the two off of each other.
And Doug does a good, funny Batman parody voice. He's a good Zod. Malcolm, he's done well as the cinematographer. Rachel, even though it's random, did play the hell out of the Jewish mom parody.
It almost felt, though, it should have been a separate video, and maybe if they had taken that out and made it its own separate thing and then did the review, but oh well. Still both quality, but I felt they had different, separate tones.
Last thing I guess I can really say is the only part of Man of Steel that I hated, like legit hated, was Pa Kent's death, where he gets sucked by the tornado.
Yeah, and the dog, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally understand sacrificing himself to protect, and also not wanting Clark to expose himself.
Yeah.
The thing that I did not like about it was he died over a fucking dog.
Yes.
I mean, I know people love dogs, and they can be nice creatures, but Jesus Christ.
That's when you smell the summer blockbuster right there. Like there's those moments where it's like, hey, we're a summer blockbuster, and right there is the classic summer blockbuster one. Where's the dog saving moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I personally like Man of Steel. I don't get the criticisms that people give, but you do you. And also, I love that Lois Lane meets Clark and finds out about his powers before he even becomes Superman here.
Yeah.
They don't do the traditional thing.
I think it's a fun reboot when a lot of classic franchises were getting those reboots, and I think it was well done, I agree.
And for all the bitching he does about IHOP and Sears, I'm surprised no one ever brings up the part where Lois puts her camera on the ice while she's going through, and we get like a 5-second shot close-up of the word Nikon.
Well, and again, that's part of paying the bills, and that was definitely part of this era where I feel like product placement kind of took over for about a 10-year period. I think it's calmed down a bit now, but definitely...
Hopefully.
You felt it for sure, but you kind of... I found it easy enough to just kind of dismiss. It didn't take over.
Either way, fun review, fun movie. Go check them out if you haven't seen them.
I agree, yep.